Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris Williamson. I'm the owner and operator of Flex Plumbing, and I've started this channel and started making these videos just so I could reach out to young men and women who are in the trades or trying to get into the trades and give you some of my 25 years of knowledge and expertise any way I can to help. I feel a calling to help young men and women. I always have. I've always enjoyed training my apprentices and giving back to my apprentices, and so this is my way of continuing to give back in the trades, not only through my company, but now through this channel, hopefully get a larger outreach. So today what I want to talk about is the different trades and possibilities and different ways of getting into the trades and things you want to think about when maybe even going to different companies and applying. So as we know, there are a ton of trades out there, and even within each trade, there are different layers of things you can do. I can speak the best from plumbing because I know plumbing the best. You know, just in my trade, you have obviously apprentices, you have journeymen, you have foremen, you have project managers, you have superintendents, you have estimators, you have purchasing guys, you have BIM guys, you have prefab guys, you have welders, you have operators, you have tradesmen, you have pipe layers. Um, what else am I missing? Obviously, I mean, anything in the office that that those are just 10 different parts of just plumbing, right? So there's just so many different things and different opportunities in the trades. It's really just finding something that you really like and what you enjoy, right? And so you want to look at each trade and each different skill and what is going to be something that you can do and enjoy, right? If you don't like being outside and you hate being in the sun, then you don't want to be a roofer or a concrete guy or a flooring or an asphalt guy or something like that, right? You want to do something that's like a finished trade where you're always indoors and never have sunlight on you. So you want to consider those kind of things when you're looking at a trade. But for the most part, all different electrician, HVAC, plumber, they're all going to have fire sprinkler. They're all going to have different aspects of it and different ways of getting in to the trade. Okay. So the other thing you want to think about when you're getting to a trade is how long and how often is that trade on the job. Okay, so if you're doing new construction and you're going to be doing whether it's residential new construction or it's commercial new construction, or even get into big schools and government projects and that kind of thing, is how long am I going to be on the job for? And that was something that I learned very early in my career, is that as a plumber, I'm there from the freaking beginning to the very end of the job. There is no real time and period during that job where they're not needing a plumber on the job. And I would see other trades, they were only there very rarely, right? They were very only there for finish, or only there for top out, or only there in rough out, but not there for the remainder of the job. And it was us and electricians, really, for the most part. Concrete guys, kind of, especially the foreman, and then some other trades a little bit, but for the most part, electricians and plumbers are there the entire job. So that's something to keep in mind when you're picking a trade, is you don't want to pick a trade where the work's not out there a whole lot. Now, that being said, right, an elevator guy who's a good elevator guy is going to be very handy and is going to be always busy, because that's a job, that's a very high skilled job that not a lot of people are doing. So you want to think about that too. But for the most part, you want to pick a trade where you're going to be there enough to provide for your family. Now, if you're doing service and repair, it really doesn't matter, because you should be bidding the work and going to the service calls. So that kind of idea or situation isn't really a bigger deal. But when you're doing new construction, that's the kind of thought you want to have. Um, so how do we get into the trades is another big question. Like, I have that all the time. Like, I got a son, or I want to get into the plumbing. How do I do it? The big thing is what I would suggest, and this is my opinion, and this might not be, I think that this is going to be frowned upon by a lot of maybe plumbers, but I think that when you get into the trade, you should start from the beginning and do new construction. I have met a ton of service plumbers who have been doing service only for 10 years, and they're very good salesmen and they know what they're doing as far as that's going, but they're not plumbers. They don't understand the systems, they haven't installed the systems, they don't understand it completely, and they're just service guys. And so for me personally, if I was to give you a recommendation, would be to get into a commercial or residential new construction company, and learn from the ground up. Do a few jobs where you're doing all of the underground, all of the top out, all of the finish, or whatever that version is of your trade, and you see it over and over and over to the point of where you understand your trade inside and out. And so that is my opinion. What I suggest is you go down, you go online. So I'm gonna talk for plumbing first. So if you want to become a plumber today, you decide, hey, I want to be a plumber. What would you suggest is the best thing I should do to get into the plumbing trade? I would go down. So this is in California. Whether you want to be union or non-union, that's going to be a whole nother conversation for a whole nother video. But go down to the school, whether it's the non-union school or the union school. If you're looking for the union school, go just put local union for my area. It'll come up on the website, and go down and just go talk to them. Say, hey, I want to be a plumber. Get on their list. Take their tests. Okay, you're not going to pay for the school. The school's paid for. I think this is right. It's how it's always been. It's been a little bit since I was in there. But basically, the journeyman and the companies pay for the schooling. So you're not actually paying for it yourself. So it's free education. And you go to school and they're going to put you in work and you don't have to worry about finding work. So the union's great. The non-union side is what I did. I went to Associated Builders and Contractors. It's an apprenticeship school. It's a 4-year school. I think it's a 5-year school now. They go twice a week, I believe. It's 4 hours or 2 hours a night. It's all changed since I was there, but bottom line is you go to school and you work at the same time. They will literally put you in a company. You don't have to worry about work. You'll have work for 4 years. You'll have training, on the job site training, and you're also going to get classroom training through these schools, which is paid for by the other journeymen in the company. You're not even paying for it. You get done. You're going to be a journeyman at the end of this 4 years. You'll be done a journeyman, understand your complete trade, have a California state license saying you're a journeyman, no debt, making over 100 G's a year, and you're 20, 22, 23 years old. How does that sound? Same as electricians, same as HVAC, they're all making about the same. Then you can take that 4 years that you've now gotten, you understand completely. You could keep being a journeyman, become a foreman, do the superintendent, and you can make a ton of money. And we all know how that. We don't all know, but that route is a great route. You can make a lot of money, and I have a lot of friends that are still doing that route. They make a killing. Or you roll it into, now you learn service, now you start a company, now you go do work for a water district, but you understand and you have a skill that nobody can take away from you. You have no debt. And you could do that with any trade. So electricians have the same thing. You have to decide for the area you're in and where you're at what's going to be best for you. But that was what I would suggest. Now, I'm pretty sure Associated Builders and Contractors, which is the non-union version of this school, is pretty much in every state. I'm sure you could find it and you could just call them, find your local one, and go sign up. Sometimes you have to be sponsored and it's harder because there was a big demand for it. But if it's something you want to do, they'll give you a list of the companies that they're sponsoring with. You go down to them and apply to them and tell them that, hey, I want to become a plumber. Man, hard-working young men and women who want to do the trade are hard to find. So if you show up and knock on their door and say, I want to learn the trade and I want to go to school, they're going to do it. They're going to sponsor you. You are a dime a dozen. So make that happen. I do not suggest, if you have no experience, going to a service company and trying to get hired on as a passenger princess and trying to learn that way. All you're learning is how to sell plumbing. You're not learning plumbing, whether or electrical or whatever you're doing. You're learning how to go in there and diagnose problems that you don't even really understand, and then sell solutions that you don't really understand, and you're kind of setting yourself back. Now, can you make a lot of money that way? Yes, you can, but that's not how I would do it. I personally would go and do new construction, get in the trenches. Like I said, if it's concrete, learn how to form, learn how to pour, learn how to do all that. Whether it's electrical, it's the same thing. Learn the underground, learn it from top out to beginning. Plumbing. If you're doing fire sprinkler, right, you're going to learn from the riser to the heads. If you're doing roofing, tar, all the different types of roofing, framing, the different types of framing, whether it's wood framing, metal framing, welding. All these trades have a ton of different aspects to them, and there are ways of becoming specialists in different things. And it's like I said, it's there's a ton of opportunities out here, guys, and it's fun. I get done at the end of the day, especially when I was back in those days, and I was racing against other apprentices and how much pipe can I put in, and talking shit to the guys on the job site, and we were getting done at the end of the day, feeling accomplished, tons of pipe done. And so that is what I want for you guys. So what I would recommend is, if you're trying to get into a trade, find your local apprenticeship program. I'm a little biased. I would say non-union, but depending on the area you live in, you might want to go union, because union might be the way to go. They might have all the work. So, then there's different levels of it, right? There's prevailing wage here, at least like here in California, we have prevailing wage, which is anything that's government or military. And then they have residential new construction, just commercial new construction. So there's all different types of ways of getting into it. And there's all different types of apprenticeship schools. So some of them you do have to pay for, and you got to pay for yourself, but it's not college tuition. You're not getting out of there and having hundreds of thousands of freaking dollars in debt and never knowing how you're going to pay it off. It's very minimal compared to what it is, and you're going to come out with a trade and a skill that nobody can take away from you, that you can do, that you can go anywhere in the freaking world and sell, and nobody can take that away from you. And then you can do it very cheaply and have a job that you can help provide for your family and use as an avenue to get anywhere you want to be with that job. Architect, engineer, owner. You want to go work for the city and make laws about plumbing. There's all these different opportunities that you can do. You just got to get there. You just got to get there. So that is how I suggest you should get into the trades. Whatever the trade is, again, you should get and learn the entire trade. I wouldn't start with service right away. I would learn your trade, then get into service, because there is a lot of money to be made in service, especially when you understand and you can diagnose the exact system, because you know the system completely, because you've built it from beginning to end, from street tie-in to in use with any trade. As far as companies that you want to work for and what you're kind of looking for, right? You want companies that show a lot of family value, companies where the guys have been there for a long time. But when it comes to new construction, I'm not going to lie, guys, you don't want a company that's easy on you. You want a company that's hard on you. You want somebody who's going to hold you accountable. They're going to tell you, like, hey, we want this much footage done every single day, whatever the trade is, right? Again, talking for plumbing, because that's what I know most. But how much footage, this is what we expect. When we had operators, you're going to do 1,000 feet a day, 100 feet an hour, whatever it is. If you're doing fixtures, hey, I need 8 fixtures set a day, that's minimum. And so you set these standards, and you have high standards for yourself, and that's how you get better in the trade, right? With plumbing, it was kind of one of those things where we learned how to be really fast, but also not to cut corners while we were doing it. So how to give the customer, the end user, the best possible product the fastest we could do it. Because especially because we were doing schools, and schools are made so that if there's ever a national disaster or anything ever happens, schools are supposed to hold up, and they're supposed to be where people go to get away from things, right? So when we're building schools, we're held to this standard on everything that's way different than any other kind of build you can do. And so we had to be able to do that in an environment and still make money for the companies we're working for. And so we had to be really efficient and fast at the same time, but do that at the highest level possible as far as integrity of what we were doing. And so doing that for years and years and years has helped me develop an eye and a way of working to where not only am I doing the best product possible, but I'm doing it at the most efficient I can, and making as much money as I can doing it. And I take that and I put it into the rest of my life. And so having a company is not, you don't want a company that's easy on you. I'm telling you that right now. You want to work for somebody who expects a lot for you, but also, if it comes down to it, can put the bags on next to you and show you, like, hey, this, I'm telling you, I want this because this is possible, right? And so, and the way you're going to learn that as a person in your trade is by doing things over and over and over. That, hey, this takes me this long. And that way, when I have somebody says, hey, I need this done by the end of the day, and you're like, no, it ain't happening. I know how long it takes to do this and this. You are bullshit. So this is how long it'll take me to do that, because I'm a professional in the trade. I know how long it takes. So you want to find a company that's going to support you in that way. You want to find a company who obviously has the work to keep you busy. It's okay to have friends, but you got to work. So you're looking for companies that have a family feel, have lots of work, are looking ahead, who want to train you, who look at you as an asset, right? They want you to be the best at what you can do. You'll get along. Like, I've worked with companies where the other journeyman in the company like don't want to ever help you out, don't want to ever train you or teach you, because they're afraid you're going to take their job at some point. And it's like, well, fuck guys like that, right? We don't want to work with guys like that because those guys are just, if they were better, they wouldn't be afraid. Like, I'm never gonna, you're not gonna take my job because you had to be better than me to take my job. That ain't happening. So I can give you, I mean, I forgot, right? I forgot more plumbing than you're ever gonna learn. So I'm gonna teach you all day long because the better you are, the easier my day gets. So we have that mentality in the trades, but I think it's, especially now knowing that we need all these young men and women to come through the trades and to save it, from what it's looking like in the future. And so, looking for companies that are supporting that kind of thing, that want your growth, that want to train you, that want to get you all the certs you're wanting. You know what I mean? You want to be certified in everything we can get you certified when it comes to safety or just your job in general. So you're looking for companies like that have records. Talk to the guys when you get there, and make sure they're not taking advantage of you. But yeah, so that's the big thing. And depending on what you want to do, right? If you want to work prevailing wage, if you want to do new construction for residential, commercial, you want to build Walmarts, whatever it is that you want to do in that trade, you just got to hunt it and find it because it's there. Um, and there's an opportunity. And so that's what I would say. So if you're looking for, to get into the trade and you're looking for a good company, starting with a good apprenticeship school and going down there and talking to them and like, who are the companies that are hiring, who has the most guys, whose guys seem the happiest, asking those questions. And they'll tell you, I mean, the apprentice, especially, show up at an apprenticeship school, apprentice night, and they're all in class, and get those guys out there by the lunch truck when they're bullshitting, and they'll tell you about every single company and what's going on in every company and who's good to work for and who the good foremen are. You'll find every single thing you ever want. We gossip like little bitches at these things. I know because I was there for 4 years. So that's what I would suggest. Get down to those schools, get signed up, and let's get in the trades, and start getting it going under your belt. A lot of them, you only need a driver's license, and sometimes you need to graduate algebra, or you have to have a driver's license or your high school diploma. All going to depend on the state and where you're at. But that being said, uh, get out there, talk to your apprenticeship school, whether it's the union or non-union, and get in there and get started, man. Get started today, because the best day to start was yesterday, but do it today. All right, guys, like and subscribe, and I'll keep those videos coming. Let's go.